Hi. So today I think I want to talk about anxiety. Anxiety is something that plagues a lot of us. It hinders our daily lives. And I personally struggle with a lot of anxiety. I have standard anxiety and I have social anxiety. And in doing this, I am forcing myself to overcome some of that anxiety. Anxiety feels like you're unable to do things. It is a fear of sorts, a fear of being seen, a fear of being perceived. And sometimes it's just stupid fears that we know are irrational. But the feeling of anxiety is hard to overcome, even when the mind knows that it's being irrational. I know that some of my thoughts are very irrational. What is going to happen when I walk into a store? Other than me getting what I need and leaving. Life is unknown and things can happen, but standardly, they don't. You go into the store, you get what you need, and you leave. And the other people there are doing the same thing. They're getting what they need and leaving. They're not there to judge us. They're not there to poke and prod and ask questions about what we're buying. They're not there to pay any attention to us. And yet social anxiety says, I'm going to walk into the room and everyone is going to notice me. And in being noticed, you're being perceived. And if you don't like to be perceived, it feels bad. It feels uncomfortable to be seen. And I think that comes from a place of being unseen. When you go unseen, not because you're not there or you're not doing things, but because people don't give you the care, the time of day, it makes you feel invisible. And when you get comfortable in that invisibility, the moment someone perceives you, you panic because suddenly somebody has noticed you and you're not used to that. And anxiety doesn't all have to be in being perceived or being seen. Some of my anxiety is I'm afraid my house is going to burn down every time I leave. And that is an irrational fear that I have. Yes, it could happen. But if I leave my house knowing that I have unplugged the toaster, turned the oven off, made sure the wood stove was closed up tight, made sure electrical plugs were plugged in correctly and not being covered by objects, whatever it is, I've checked and made sure. I've taken preventative measures to know that my house is not going to burn down. And yet, every time I leave, that fear arises. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why I have that fear. But it's there, and I have to deal with it. And sometimes anxiety is just there. And we have to push past it and overcome that fear. And the more we push past and the more we overcome our fears, the stronger we get. Next time, it won't be so difficult. Because this time, you showed yourself that it was okay. I think a lot of people struggle with anxiety without even knowing it. Sometimes the things that we dislike are just anxieties. Sometimes the things that we worry about are just anxieties. They're not necessarily rational. They're not necessarily true. And that's the thing, is you have to tell yourself what's true. What is true? My oven is off. That's true. I've taken preventative measures to make sure my house does not have any reason to catch on fire. That's true. So in knowing that truth, I should be able to leave my home and feel comfortable knowing that it is safe. But I don't. And that's the thing with anxiety, is it kind of just lingers and creeps up on you. It sinks its claws in and takes a hold of you, and it says, what if, what if? But we have to overcome those what ifs, because every single day of our lives is a what if. It is unknown. There are things we can plan and there are things we can know as each day comes. But for the most part, our lives are very unknown. We don't know what is going to happen day in and day out. We don't. And I think if you're someone who's very aware of the fact that you don't know what your life is going to become, you're a person who holds that anxiety. And anxiety is not always a bad thing. It keeps us safe. Everyone has anxiety. But when it is invasive in your life, it becomes a problem. It becomes an everyday struggle to push past fear. And we don't want to live in fear, because living in fear keeps you stuck. If you have social anxiety and you choose not to do your groceries, you don't have food. You are stuck. You have to overcome your fears. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy. It's really hard. It is really, really hard to overcome anxiety, because it creeps in at the most random times. You can be fine, not even thinking about it, and then all of a sudden that what if pops up in the back of your head, and it eats at you. You could still be in the middle of doing whatever it was you were doing, and in the back of your mind thinking about that what if, what if, what if. And it takes away from what you're doing. It takes away from being present and enjoying that moment. I don't have the answers. I don't know how to fix anxiety. But I understand. I do. I understand it. Sometimes our brains are just irrational. Sometimes they don't always make sense. The thoughts that come up sometimes are things we never thought we were worried about. And the more we worry and seclude ourselves, I've noticed the worse anxiety gets. The less I go out into the world and force myself to overcome that social aspect of my anxiety, the less I want to, the less drive I have to even put myself out into the world. So take small steps. Take a small step every day, whatever you can think of, that helps you overcome even just one of your anxieties. I don't know what that is. I can't tell you what to do or how to approach it. But if you can overcome one anxiety, you can overcome them all. Anxiety doesn't have to rule your life, and it shouldn't. It should not be what rules your life. It's meant to keep you safe. It's meant to warn you when something's wrong. And it's hard to face everyday life when your stomach and your mind say something is wrong all the time. I think the best thing you can do is find support. If you have anxiety doing your groceries, find a friend to go with you. Ease the moment a little by adding something familiar. That friend that can shop with you will add a familiarity to an environment that is uncomfortable. And sometimes anxiety makes us too anxious to do things. Like, I have a hard time driving. Some days I wake up and I just can't drive. And it has something to do with being in control of a large piece of machinery. There's something about it that I don't like. And some days I'm fine and I can drive, and other days I can't. And on those days, I ask for support from my husband. If there is somewhere that I need to go, he's there to support me. And that's really what you need to find, is support. We can take medication, but medication only helps so much. It can't overcome the fear for you. It can just ease it a little. And by just doing, you're overcoming. Just do the thing that you're afraid of. If it is a simple task, if it is something you know rationally is safe, if it's something you know is not bad and not wrong, even though your mind and your stomach might be telling you that it is, overcome it, because that's the only way to move forward. We have to overcome our anxieties. I can't tell you how to do that. I'm figuring it out myself. But I've found the best way to move forward is just to push through. Force myself to do the thing I'm worried about. Because as soon as I realize that I was being irrational and that there was nothing to worry about, I've confirmed to myself that I'm fine, that I don't need to worry. Don't let your anxiety rule you, because it will. If you let it, it will. And living in anxiety, it just makes you stuck. It makes you unable to be a part of the world. And even if you think you don't want to be a part of the world, you need to be. Because you're not here to hide. You're not here to just disappear and be invisible. You're here to be seen. You're here to be heard. You're here to do something meaningful to you. And you're the only one who can allow your anxiety to stop you. Take small steps. I once knew someone who was afraid to go anywhere. And she, instead of not going, she would take the first step of going to the place she needed to go. And she would just sit outside of the building or wherever it is. She would just sit in her car and she would force herself to be within the vicinity of where she needed to go. And in doing that, she eventually gained the courage to walk inside because she taught herself that nothing was going to happen. She taught herself that she was safe. And that's what you need to do with all of your anxiety. You need to teach yourself that you are safe. Because when you feel safe, the anxiety will go away. And it won't be so difficult to carry out that task. All I can say is just don't let your anxiety rule you.